Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Market Wrap. So I am back in Philly, but leaving soon to Connecticut tonight, just to get my second shot tomorrow. Can't wait, in a few weeks I'll be traveling again. Now, we had a great time watching the NCAA tournament last weekend. Now, my bracket is mostly trash, but I still do have Gonzaga going the distance, so there's still hope. So we had three great watches come across my desk this week, and the first one we're going to talk about is an Audemars Royal Oak. We talk about a lot of Royal Oaks. This particular one is not one I see very often. It's the 26331 OR Rose Gold Chrono, blue dial on a bracelet, just absolutely gorgeous. If you want a gold watch, this is just an amazing pick. The second piece I love, again, now this one's a white gold Rolex 126719 GMT white gold meteorite. This is my absolute favorite Rolex today. I consider this is going to be my graduation gift. I've got two boys in college. If they don't make it next year and graduate, it's going to be my present to myself. I love this watch. The last piece we're going to talk about is a Patek Philippe, the 5270G. Now, the 5270G is the most recent series of their Perpetual chrono. This particular one is one of the rarest. It's the blue dial, but it's the 19 dial. So it's the Perpetual chrono blue without the chin. They only made it for a short period of time. We don't see a lot of the blue dials. It's just an amazing piece to have in the collection. So this is our last show before Watches and Wonders, and we're all waiting for that day. Now, as we've discussed on previous shows, I thought it was going to be hard for some of the smaller brands to compete with Rolex and Patek on April 7th, and many have taken to dropping new goods already. So we had our first drop that we saw from Audemars. They introduced 5 new models, all from existing collections, just with new green dials. Now, I love the Royal Oaks. They did a jumbo in platinum with a green dial, absolutely gorgeous. They did a yellow gold chronograph, 41 millimeters. Again, that beautiful green dial, amazing piece. But nothing terribly game-changing here. I expect we'll see more watches to come from them over the next few weeks. Hopefully something a little different, maybe a new collection, maybe a new size. We'll see what we have to see. Omega released a new Seamasters, the 300, blue dial, blue bezel, great piece, kind of classic. They also introduced a bronze gold. Has a sandwich dial, really pretty. I really want to see it in person, but it looks great in the pictures. They also introduced a Seamaster Diver 300, black bezel, black dial, black hands. So since this is our last show before Watches and Wonders, we thought it'd be fun to do some predictions of what we might see for new releases. So the first brand I'm going to talk about is my favorite Richemont brand, and it's A. Lange & Son. Now, they currently do not have a Perpetual calendar in the collection. Lange is a very classic manufacturer. I'd be shocked if they didn't introduce a Perpetual calendar. I would expect we might see a larger size. Traditionally, their Perpetuals were 38.5 millimeters. I could see maybe a 40 millimeter, maybe a rose gold piece with a blue dial would be amazing. Or maybe we see a precious metal Odysseus Perpetual calendar. It would be great to see another complication in that case. I think they've seen the collection build on that line. I think it's going to be an amazing piece. I've also heard a rumor that there might be a Zeitwerk date Lumen coming. That would be incredible. Add to that collection. Now, obviously, Patek is the brand everyone's waiting to see what they introduce. I think, like everybody else, we'll see a 6711 Nautilus, maybe a precious metal version to start, maybe steel with a green dial. Everybody is guessing. Maybe steel and rose. I think we're also going to see a few other classic pieces, though. I think we'll see an annual calendar. They discontinued the 5146s. I think a classic annual calendar is a staple of Patek, and we're going to definitely see something new there. I think we could also see a new, maybe a 5990 1R. A rose gold version of that watch would be amazing. Maybe the 5980 goes away. I also think we'll see a new Calatrava collection. Now, Calatrava's kind of the most iconic Patek collection there is, but right now there's not a hobnail bezel piece. I would be shocked if we don't see a new introduction of the hobnail bezel. It's the classic Calatrava. I think it would be iconic for Patek to bring it back. The other possibility that I've heard out there, but not a lot, is maybe we have an evolution of the 5270. Now, the 5270, the yellow gold was released last year, and if they follow the plan of the 5970, it was done 1 year in yellow, and then it was done. And then they introduced a new collection. Now, a 6270 would be amazing. It would certainly help provide the secondary market on the 5270, And I think iconically, Patek having a new Perpetual chrono would really set the world on fire. Now, last but certainly not least is Rolex. Everybody's talking about Rolex. What are we going to see new? What are we going to see go away? So first of all, I truly expect we're going to see a new Explorer 2. It's the 50th anniversary. The 216570 needs the new movement. A ceramic fixed bezel would make a lot of sense. It would be a nice addition. It's also the 50th anniversary of that whole collection. So I think we might see a touch of green on the piece. I think we also could see the Air King and Milgauss go away this year. Rolex, typically what they do is when they introduce new product, we get new movements. And eventually they eliminate all the older movements. And those two pieces are still using the 3131. I think we could see an upgrade to the 3230 and certainly some new collections coming through using the movement that they're using now in the OP and the sub. Now the big rumor that's out there is the elimination of the gold Daytona, specifically the green dial, and also the platinum Daytona. All the secondary market has gone crazy. Many online sites are predicting a 41mm Daytona. I think it's a little early for the whole family to go away. It's one of the most iconic families. I don't think it's time yet. I think it's more likely we might see ceramic bezels to go to the gold bracelet pieces, which they're not now. They still use gold bezels, but on the straps they use the ceramic bezel. I think we could see steel and gold variations. But I think it'll happen. I think it would be awesome to see some other variations come out. Maybe we see a Kili come back, a chrono with dates. It would be amazing. Maybe a dress chrono. Or maybe in Rolex we see a perpetual calendar. Imagine if Rolex brings out a higher complication movement. Would be game over. But whatever it's going to be, I can't wait to see it. So as a new section of this week's Market Wrap, I'm going to steal a segment that my buddies Josh and Jason used to do on the trading desk. And it's the top 5. So what we're going to show is the most searched watches from our website for the month of March. So the first piece, and a little surprising, was that the most searched piece was an Audemars Royal Oak Chrono 26331 in steel with a black dial. It's an awesome piece. It was only up for a couple of days, disappeared right away. I think it just shows the strength that Audemars come on with, and the Royal Oak specifically. Now, the second piece was another surprise. And this was a 16570A Explorer 2, but the first series. Now, this series has gotten a lot of attention with the new introductions threatened to be there, and we've seen prices come up. So I think seeing a lot of activity on this model wasn't as much of a surprise, but I would have thought it would have been the newer version, not the older version. The third piece is definitely a surprise. It's just a 118238 day-date classic champagne dial. What we think of as kind of a very traditional, very classic Rolex, but for whatever reason, a lot of interest on that piece. And the fourth piece was a Datejust 36. Again, we're seeing a lot more interest in the older version Datejust. I think the value is great. It's got a great look. The 16234 silver dial, just a classic. And the last of the 5 rounds out a Rolex again, but this time the new Submariner, the 126610. No surprise, it's the most classic Rolex ever made. I think it'll always be one of the top pieces. It's great to see that's getting all the attention as well. So that's this week's Market Wrap. Hope to see you next week.